going here. We'll give it just another quick minute and then we'll kick this off because I value everyone's time. Show of hands or in the chat, where are you located today? Are you in Phoenix area or are you in Vegas? Hello, hello. Looks like Stacy's typing, maybe, hopefully. Queen Creek. That must be in Arizona. Yeah, Heather?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Sam's in Las Vegas. I know Sam. Hello, Sam. Welcome. And Stacy's in Phoenix, Scottsdale. I always worry about folks in Arizona with the recent weather, floods, sandstorms. I mean,
We're
goodness.
survivors, Tim.
I know you are. All right. All right. So let's do this. Let's kick this off. Welcome to Rock University. Hey, everyone. I am Tim Sams. For those of you that don't know me, I'm with Rock Title. I'll be your host today. Just so you know, we're recording the session today. The replay will be up on YouTube in a couple of days. If you want to watch again or share it, grab some popcorn, some late night viewing, great stuff. If you can, safely turn on your camera, for those of you out there. We'd love to see your face, and it just makes us feel more connected. And now let's get to the good part. I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Jane Cebrynski. She is a certified sports life coach, chief well-being officer, and she has, this amazing way of helping high achievers break through barriers. With her background in real estate, yoga, and being a mom, she brings such a real, well-rounded perspective. You're in for some inspiration today. Let's give a warm welcome to Jane. All yours, Jane.
Thank you, Tim. As always, I appreciate so much the invitation, the opportunity to be here. And team, before we get started, I know I'm seeing some familiar faces, so welcome back. We're going to take a moment and we're just going to get ourselves really centered and present here for this conversation. So, Kristen, you're driving. We don't want you to close your eyes, but what I'd love for you to do is if you want to take yourselves off camera, we're going to do about 2 minutes of a recentering. And otherwise, I'm just going to ask you to please go ahead, close your eyes. I want you to get your feet firmly on the floor. Get yourself comfortable in your chair. Maybe lift your body away from the chair a little bit. And this is just a very simple grounding exercise. So with your eyes closed or your gaze down, I want you to just draw a breath in through your nose. And as you bring that breath in through your nose, I want you to know the life force energy that's coming into your body. And then you're just going to exhale gently through the mouth, almost like you're sipping out of a straw. So just exhale gently. Again, I want you to draw that breath in. This time on your exhale, I want you to drop your shoulders down. Just really feel a release and a letting go. Again, draw the breath in. Just feeling yourself really supported by this breath. Exhale, release. As you draw the next breath in, I want you to just really kind of feel your feet beneath you, grounding in this present moment, trusting that whatever's going to show up for you work-wise, personally, it's going to be there when we're done, but giving yourself the opportunity to really be here for the next 60 minutes. Exhale, let it go. And then just one more big deep breath in. Maybe hold it. And then exhale, let it go. And then one final breath as you draw it in. Exhale, letting go. And then open your eyes. And then come back on camera if you can.
20 more seconds, I would have been out like a light.
I know, right? So this is a reminder that I really, really want to encourage those of you that can be on camera. Let's be on camera. Let's interact. Let's engage, ask questions. Tim, you're going to manage that aspect of it for me so that I'm not having to like multitask here. And I couldn't be more excited about this particular conversation because I really believe the power of listening is key to so many aspects of our performance and our well-being. And just the little exercise I did with you right there is how we need to show up in conversation, the way we want to show up in order to be truly listening. And that means we allow ourselves to get grounded, to get present before we start to engage in conversations. Oftentimes, what happens is we're very quick to react and we don't really participate in listening. And this can literally be the professional advantage that you have over someone else. Raise your hand if you think listening is kind of your superpower. Oh, gosh, I love it. Okay. Can't wait for us to engage in this conversation. And hopefully you'll learn some new things, but really I also want to hear from you on what's worked and what's allowed you to be that way. So there are 3 levels of listening. Level 1 listening is what we call internal listening. And that's really not listening too well. It's more about me, and the person that is talking is doing their talking, but I am really focused on myself, my own thoughts, or the way I want to contribute in the conversation. Now, I've been in sales most of my entire life before coaching. So I say this coming from um, a sales perspective, not picking on anybody. And I was in real estate, but my experience inside of sales with a lot of sales people is that they tend to listen at that level 1. And the minute they get a bite, the minute they hear something that they can attach to, something that they can sell, they've stopped listening and they've started to think about, oh, okay, I know exactly what they want, and I'm going to start this conversation. So it really takes away from the listening. Level 2 listening is listening to understand. And when we are listening to understand, we're curious. We're coming from a place of curiosity, and our attention and our focus is really on that person speaking. Level 3 listening is called global listening. And that is when we are really listening with the intention of serving and supporting. We're listening beyond the words. We're picking up body language. We're picking up emotions. We're picking up tone of voice, gestures, and we're using that information to allow us to get more curious and explore maybe what's more behind what's being said. Thoughts on that, team? Comments? Tim?
Yeah, I think I think personally I'm at a level 2, between 2 and
Okay.
3. Um, I do know that I come across a lot of real estate agents, and I don't know if it's them specifically, but the gift to be able to talk nonstop without getting in a word edgewise. I don't know. I was just noticing that yesterday. I was talking with somebody, and it was just like there was no break. So I mean, I think as far as listening goes, you should also be mindful of like just I don't want to say rambling, but pause.
Well, and this is a skill. This is a skill to develop. And the more we practice it, the better we get at it, just like anything. And so I'm going to share with you I'm going to give you some feedback around this and why it's important, and also share with you some tools and strategies. And for those of you who think you're strong listeners, I want you guys to like contribute, share ideas and thoughts that you have as well, because we all can benefit from this. And I think we all have opportunities to continue to get better and better at it. So here's the power of listening. I mean, this is why I use that language, because there's really a lot of power behind it. First and foremost, it dissipates anger. If you think about it, this is what customer service people get really, really trained in, because a lot of times people just want to be heard And once you've listened, that anger starts to dissipate. So one of the powers of listening is that it can help dissipate anger. Secondly, it accelerates learning. Oftentimes what happens when we're listening, if we hear something that we want to react to, respond to, whether it's something we want to sell or we're getting defensive, then we've stopped listening. Actually, we've gone back to a level 1, and thus we might have missed some key information that we could learn from. It motivates affection because for the person that's speaking, it's an opportunity for them to feel heard, for them to feel seen, and to feel cared about. It also alleviates fear because when we create a space that feels safe and non-judgmental, because we're giving ourselves permission to be open, to learn, coming from a place of at least curiosity, it makes people feel like this is a safe place for me to communicate. Thoughts, comments? Can you relate to this? Can you see yourself in this?
It took
Don't
me
leave
a
me
long
hanging. Thanks, Stacy.
There we go, Stacey.
I'm like, I can't type that fast. So it took me a long time to actively listen because, like you stated, the second they opened their mouth, I started thinking, and I kept waiting for that time where I could speak instead of listening to what they're saying. And I've gotten past that, and I've really gotten aggressive with my listening in a friendly way. So,
Yeah.
but it has really, really helped my business and my personal
Beautiful.
life.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Kristen, did you have a comment about that? You took yourself off mute, so I just want to honor that.
No, just listening.
Okay, beautiful. So here's what's really powerful. Now, this should have a little asterisk next to it because communication. Words are incredibly important, 1000%. This study comes from when the words are not consistent. So in other words, it's the nonverbal cues that actually become more important, the body language, the tone of voice, and the gestures when they're not consistent with the words. So in other words, I'm saying fine, but my arms are crossed. I huff it out, fine. I might roll my eyeballs. Now we want to tune in to the body language and the tone of voice as cues that, okay, wait, maybe they're not fine. So remember, it takes us back to that level 3 global listening to say, hey, I know that you said you were fine, but I noticed that maybe your body language, you seem frustrated. Do you want to tell me more about that? And now we're coming back into a place of curiosity. We're asking questions so that we can serve and support. And we're engaged in that conversation. So words don't matter as much only when the tone of voice and the body language are not consistent. Can you relate to this? Makes sense? Yeah, because yes, team, I don't want you to misunderstand. Words are very, very important. And we make meaning of words. And so we will respond based on the meaning that we are making about what's being said. And that takes us to a whole other level, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But I also want to talk about the power of responding. Again, I'm using this language of power because, to Stacy's point, number one, it requires really intentional practice. First, it starts with awareness, noticing, am I somebody who interrupts other people as they talk? I mean, I've got a girlfriend group. Nobody can get a word in edgewise before everybody's talking over everybody. So it's like, is anybody actually listening? And then we all have to repeat ourselves over and over again. So we think about the power of responding is also a skill. And team, I think about you a lot in the way you're engaging with your clients. You're dealing with very emotional products, and there's lots of back and forth, lots of opportunities to be misunderstood, to miscommunicate, for emotions to get flared. And really developing this as a skill, to Stacy's point again, it's helped her professionally and personally. This could be the cutting edge, the distinct advantage. So asking yourself the question, is this something I should respond to right now? Or can I let it pass? Recognizing, is this an urgency in me because I need to prove something or I want to be right? Or is this something that if I just let it go, it's going to resolve itself on its own? I don't really need to engage with this. Do I have a reasonable belief that what I will say will make a positive difference? Who am I talking to? What is it about? But do I believe that I'm going to make a positive difference? And then really looking at, have I carefully considered and crafted my words with the desired outcome of how can I serve and support? We're going to get into a little bit more about what this could look like. But I think, again, it's a great opportunity to check ourselves. Like, what's the intention behind my response? Do I want to prove somebody wrong? Do I want to prove I'm right? Do I want to show how smart I am? Am I insulted? Did they offend my character, my integrity, my expertise? What's the intention behind my words? And have I carefully considered, I'm here to serve and support, so let me ask the conversation. Let me approach it from that perspective. And then team, this last one, it's all capitalized. I want you to write this down, because if nothing else, this is an incredibly powerful tool for emotional management. All information is good information, even if you don't like it, and you get to choose how you want to use it. So you get a long email or text message from an upset client, and your emotional system is getting hijacked, supernatural. We go into defense mode, perhaps. And if we can settle into, you know what, all information is good information. They're saying a lot of things in here, don't agree with. I'll take the information, don't agree with it. That's actually incorrect. Oh, you know what? There's a couple of points in there that are actually valid and fair. But what it does is it puts us in a neutral state, which allows us to then be open to listening at a level 2 or hopefully a level 3. Heather, can I put you on the spot? I see you thinking. I just would love just like your thoughts, comments on it. Do you relate to this? Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I totally relate to this. And this is something that's huge in my life, is listening almost more to what they're not saying or what they're kind of dancing around, and then giving them just the space to be honest about what's really going on in their head.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Just say it unfiltered. Be kind, but say it unfiltered and say what you mean. And this is so up my alley. I love this topic.
Oh, love it. Well, then come on, get yourself off mute and contribute.
Oh.
There's a great saying that say what you mean what you say, but don't be mean when you say it.
Agreed.
Say
Agreed.
what
And
you
you can,
mean. Yeah, go ahead, Heather.
oh, I was just going to say, and be careful what you say, even if you mean it, because you can never unsay something.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
And our words do matter. And
Absolutely.
it is about thinking, and team, when you approach it knowing that your intentions are genuine and true, how somebody else receives it is their responsibility. If your intention is really true and you've crafted your words carefully and you've done your best to be kind around it, if they receive it poorly, that's about them. That's about them. And they have to take responsibility for that. So we have the power of listening, and then we have the power of responding. It is a two-way street. Communication goes back and forth. Any other thoughts, comments on this? All right.
Great stuff so far, as always.
So let's talk about, what gets us hooked and how can we hold? And Heather said this, it's about holding space, right? And I wanted to comment that sometimes we get uncomfortable in the pause or the quiet. And yet that could be exactly what's needed for people to process, to get grounded. And so there's really a lot of power in the pause, in the quiet, because it creates space for people to be with their emotions, to be with their thoughts, to be with their feelings, without us necessarily having to push through so quickly. So we can look at okay, whoops, hold please. There we go. All right, so we can look at, what gets us hooked and how can we hold. So I want to ask a couple of questions. I've just put some things up here, but I want to know, what gets you hooked in a conversation? And what I mean by that is, what gets you emotionally reacted? What starts getting you defensive? How do you know when maybe they got you? What happens in your body? What do you notice? And I would love to engage in a conversation with whoever can participate to just give some indicators. Like if you think somebody's insulted your expertise, does that get you hooked? How dare you? Tim,
Nope,
play with
Heather
me.
unmuted. I can't. Heather
Oh,
just
there we go.
unmuted. She saved me.
We're all being such chickens.
I
Are we supposed to be able to see your screen?
Yes.
can see your screen.
I
What
can
am I
see
doing
it as
wrong?
well.
Don't scare me like that.
So I'm going through the little. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just like,
No,
don't want to miss
Stacy.
anything.
If nobody can see the screen,
I
No,
see
I
you.
important.
I see you, and then you said something about showing us something, and I'm like, well, why don't I see it? And I can
Maybe
normally
Yeah.
figure this stuff
Maybe you're
out,
signing
but
on a different screen potentially, because I can see your screen just fine.
Okay.
I'm doing
Heather
Anybody
can
else?
see it.
Okay, everybody else can see
just
it.
me.
Whew.
Never
I'm
mind.
not super
I'll figure it out.
techie, so that scares me.
I'll figure it out. I apologize for interrupting.
No. See if we can't get that fixed for you.
That's fine. I'll figure it out. I don't want to interrupt.
So paying attention to what gets me hooked in a conversation, what starts to derail me, what might put me back into that level 1 listening. Anybody? Thoughts?
I think when somebody uses the word you, like you should
Mm.
have, or you did this, or sometimes I get called one of my children's names, like like I'm acting like them. So
Thus.
Caleb, if you wouldn't do that, please. Well, I'm not Caleb. Anyway,
Got it.
little maybe
Word
too much
you is like a
information, but not.
finger.
Yeah, if somebody points
Mm,
Yeah.
finger at you, yeah. Team, the more aware we are about the ways in which we get hooked, number one, it always starts with awareness. That's our opportunity to be reflective, to think about, ooh, okay, why did I let myself just get super defensive by that? Why did I start to shut down and stop listening? What is it that's triggering inside of me? Because here's what happens to the nervous system. Whenever the body feels like it's being threatened, and let's face it, in communication, there are so many ways in which we can feel threatened. I mean, we can be actually threatened. And then there are experiences that we've had in our lives that could trigger that response. So, for example, let's just say maybe you had a parent that could yell a lot and really loud. And that was kind of like you were in deep doo doo, you are in trouble. And so now, and that was frightening, right? And now it's like if anybody starts raising their voice or yelling, you feel that emotional trigger again. Now, we're not diving deep into all of this today. That would be for another workout, but it is an opportunity to notice, okay, what are the things that kind of make me respond the way I do? And have that reflection. Because when the nervous system feels threatened, and oh, by the way, team, you have a conversation from a client, and whether you're processing it this way or not, you emotionally could be triggered just by the mere fact, like, what if I lose this deal? What if I lose this client? What if I lose this commission check? And your body's going to go into fight or flight mode. Now, we know that this is the body's response. It doesn't necessarily mean you are actually being threatened. But the body, if you've attended a couple of the other workshops we've done, we talked about the difference. The body doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. If you're a person that really doesn't like being in, hard conversations and feels like a little conflicting, inside of it, you will get hijacked. Your nervous system, meaning your amygdala, your threat response mechanism in the brain, will get hijacked. Now, are you really in threat? Having to tell a client they need to pay your full commission? No. But do you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this? So the nervous system will respond that way. And that's energy. That's energy that starts to leak out of the body. It moves us out of the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is where our clarity, our decision making, our sound reasoning and logic sit. So being aware of the ways in which we get hooked is key. And then from an emotional intelligence perspective, we can start, to Heather's point, getting really skilled at listening in the ways in which our clients might be hooked. You just told me I have to pay an extra $20,000 for a sewage pump that I didn't know existed on the property. Hooked. So we want to move from being hooked to holding, which means we want to get grounded. We did a little grounding exercise on the front end here to just, oh, by the way, I didn't even ask you guys, how did that feel? Heather's like, thumbs up, great.
Sure. Jane, if I may, real quick, I just wanted to
Yeah.
comment as it went away. Hold on a second. Sam had just
Yeah,
dropped in the chat section that I guess a hook or a trigger for him was when a client thinks that all we do as agents is put a listing on the MLS. They don't understand what goes into it, all your hard work, the marketing, the negotiation, the escrow process, or how an agent protects them through a transaction.
yeah, true, right? And here's the thing, it's because we're making a meaning of it, Sam. You are responding to that because you're making a meaning of it. They don't value me. They don't appreciate me. How dare they? Why don't they come over and try and do this? Like we're making meaning and thus we're reacting. So it's about, okay, in part, it's about how do I neutralize the meaning, right? They can think whatever they want. Doesn't make it true. This is where all information is good information. I get to decide how I want to use it. You don't think I'm worth my 6%, 3%, whatever it is. I don't remember anymore. That can be your opinion. And I can honor your opinion and I can appreciate the fact that you get to have an opinion and I can still say no to it. So how do we hold? We get grounded. We go back to the power of responding versus reacting. When we get grounded, when we get still, when we can regulate our nervous system, see, the amygdala is not hijacked anymore, and we come back to the prefrontal cortex. So we're able to respond more calmly, and more clearly. And then we can come up with our own mantras. We can come up with our own thoughts or statements that allow us to hold. For example, something like, okay, they're having a moment. I don't need to make it mine. Remember, I think we've done a workout on energy management as well. Can't remember, done so many of them. But we're all energy beings, and emotions are energy in motion. So if we see it as like, okay, that's their energy, like they just came from a really rough meeting and now I got to tell them like we might not close on time. They're bringing all these emotions and this energy. And I like to think about it like a magnet. We do not have to take on that energy. We do not have to say, oh, you're angry. Okay, must be all about me, must be all my fault. And I'm going to feel that. Like they can have their energy. Again, they can have their moment. I don't need to attach it myself to it. Now, what I mean by that is, yeah, it's your responsibility. It's your fiduciary. You're guiding them, of course. You're in the game with them. But you don't need to claim the energy of it. You don't need to take on that same energy. So I had an interesting experience. I was remodeling my home and the electricians really screwed some stuff up. And I use this as an example. My contractor came over to the house. He's walking around. He's viewing everything. He's incredibly calm. I am not. I am fired up. I am frustrated and pissed. And he's calm. Now, this is all before I got my training. So what was funny is I didn't actually say anything, but I was feeling it. Like, I'm pissed and you're not pissed. And as though he read my mind, he stopped and he said, hey, I want you to know something. Just because I am not reacting does not mean this is not going to be taken care of immediately. And man, like that, I think that's all I really needed to hear. But it's an example of how he wasn't going to match my energy. Now, I wasn't following him around screaming, yelling, and being out of control, but I let him know, like, dude, I'm super pissed off. I can't believe they screwed this up. Now, what are we going to do about it? How does this impact the remodel? Is it going to be late? And I'm going on my little tangent. And he's looking around. Let me check. And my insides are like, how come this guy's not as riled up as I am? Is he not as mad as me? Does he not care as much as me? And he was like, hey, just want to let you know, do not misunderstand my reaction. It's so funny. This is exactly what he said to me. Don't misunderstand my reaction. I am furious and this is going to be taken care of. He didn't match my energy. Still desired outcome was the same. Get it taken care of. The feeling was the same. We're both angry. He just handled it differently. Thoughts, comments on that? So this is about you holding space so that you can stay in the conversation. Because when the amygdala gets hijacked and when our nervous system goes into fight or flight, team, fight, flight, freeze. Fight, I'm defensive, I'm in your face maybe, I'm quickly making my defense, I'm responding. Flight, I'm going to constrict, I'm going to ignore, I'm going to delay, I'm not going to deal with. Freeze, this was a big one for me. I can't find my words. Can't find my words. There's a lot I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. I can't say it. I'm stuck. Freeze. So again, these are bodily responses. This is how the body responds. It's how the body was created. So we want to just honor like this shit shows up this way. And then what do I want to do about it? What are the winning strategies? Do I need to pause? Do I need to say, hey, just give me 10 seconds? Do I not respond to the text right away? Do I not respond to the email right away? Do I acknowledge I received the email to temper it? Like, I got it. Don't have answers for you yet, but I got you. Just to temper, give yourself a moment. You don't need to then respond right away. Thoughts, comments? Heather, you new takeaways, thoughts?
When it comes to texts or email stuff like that, that hook me, as you say, I have to step away from it and reread it sometimes 3 or 4 times before I can see past whatever it is that pissed me off, or that somehow hit my ego somewhere. And
Yeah.
then you step back and go, okay, it wasn't as big as maybe it felt in the moment, and don't hit send, whatever you do.
Yeah, don't hit send.
Don't
Team,
hit
this
send.
is why, oh, by the way, I say team, you guys, because we talked about I'm a sports life coach. I use everything in the context and language of sport, training you to be champions, not only in your lives, but champions professionally as well. So training in the same way athletes do. And so, yes, being able to check in the ego, that's why all information is good information. If you walk away just practicing that and neutralizing your responses and your reactions to everything from that perspective, oh my gosh, huge, huge difference right there. All information is good information. I get to decide how I want to use it. I get to decide what I want to respond to. I get to decide what I want to own. I get to decide what I don't want to own. But take it in as information. It's information. Even if you feel the little "oh" in your chest.
For sure. Yeah, Heather M chimed in.
Ah,
Even if they're having a moment, she needs to remember not to make it hers or exactly right, Heather. She needs
yeah.
to remember that. I think we all need to keep that top of mind.
Yeah. Oops. All right. So here is a little strategy that you could practice. First is recognizing when you are hooked. Sorry, I'm trying to move some things around. So recognizing that when you have become unhooked, excuse me, first of all, recognize you've been hooked, right? So then you unhook. There's two ways you unhook. First, you unhook from your own emotional charge. So it could be a matter of taking a breath. It could be a matter of pausing. So first we got to recognize we're hooked, and you'll feel it in your nervous system. You'll feel your chest get tight, maybe your heart rate is going to go up. You're going to feel steam coming out of your head, like you're going to feel it somewhere in your body. Your neck might tense up. So then we unhook by first just like pause, take a breath. Then we can reflect if there's time, like, okay, what's triggering in me? Is it about me? Is it my ego? Then what we do is we can hook into the client, and we can either repeat or reflect back what we actually heard, or if it's a text message or an email, we can actually use the words. So now you're hooking into the person speaking by repeating the words they said, or acknowledging, here's what you heard. Okay, I hear you feel blindsided, or you said you feel blindsided. So we hook into the person by acknowledging exactly what we heard. And you want to use their exact words. And that takes training, because you have to be listening and not be hijacked in order to repeat back. Or if you're going to paraphrase it, check in to make sure you've captured it accurately. What will happen sometimes if you repeat the word back, okay, so George, I heard you say you're really pissed. Well, okay, I'm not really pissed. I know I said that. I'm just annoyed. Okay, well, I hear you. You're annoyed, and I can appreciate that. Or you might say, okay, I get a sense that you're pretty angry about this. Is that correct? Well, I'm more than angry. I'm super pissed. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying. Or yes, I'm angry. So when we mirror it back, we repeat what's heard. We want to try to get as close to what's being said, or if we're going to paraphrase it, then we want to check in, like, have I captured that correctly? And then that gives us a moment, right? Again, this goes back, team, to the very beginning of the power of listening. Dissipates anger, Sometimes people just want to be acknowledged. And here's what's key. It doesn't mean agreement. It does not mean agreement. It means acknowledgement. I see you. I hear you. I might be able to empathize with how you're feeling or experiencing, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean agreement. It might, like, I agree. This is wrong. Thoughts, comments?
I'm probably thinking it's not a good idea to be sarcastic when you mirror back what they're saying. I think I fall prey to that sometimes
Yes.
in my earlier years.
Um, yes, and also perhaps, passive aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
All passive aggressiveness is I'm struggling to really communicate what I actually want, right? So I'm going to say it somewhat, hey, if you're up, you might as well think about me too. When really you're like, when you're up, would you get me a glass of water also? So comments, thoughts. So first we want to be aware when we're hooked, then we unhook emotion, the charge, right? So see yourself like unplugging from an electrical outlet because we are energy and we can be supercharged and fired up, or we can unplug. We can acknowledge like, okay, what might be causing that? And then we can practice mirroring back what's being said as a way of hooking in to the client, recognizing what they're saying, understanding what they're saying, letting them know that they are being seen, that they are being heard. And then we move forward from there with whether it's a solution or I'm going to be getting back to you. Let me investigate this further, or here's the way we might handle that. But getting yourself grounded and in a place where you can be responsive with clarity of thought. And I'm doing this because it happens in the prefrontal cortex. Any other thoughts, comments? Okay, so here's a couple of tools that help you reset. How many of you are familiar with box breathing? Anybody? Yeah, some hands up. So if you think about a box, and we can do a little exercise. Think about a box. It has four sides. So box breathing sounds like this. I'm gonna tell you, and then we're gonna do it. So you inhale to the count of 4. You hold to the count of 4. You exhale to the count of 4, and you hold the exhale to the count of 4. So you make shape of a box. It's a way of calming, resetting. There's tons of different types of breathing techniques, but this is one of them. So if you want, we can just take a moment right here. You guys can close your eyes and we can just practice it a couple times. So we're going to start, think about the sides of your box. So take it up, inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Box breathing. Think about a little box, 4 sides, 4 counts. Open posture. Okay, so here's what happened to me, you guys. Again, I told you, techie's not my thing. How do I shrink my screen a little bit? I have you guys. Tim, read for me what's on my screen.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
How
you
do I
can
get to it?
click on your screen and then just maybe hit the escape button, perhaps, or upper left-hand corner to, well, at least on Mac, it's for me,
I know,
upper
I'm
left-hand
looking
corner.
for my little arrows and
Yeah.
escape's not doing anything. I know I've done this before. Sorry, everybody.
How about the right-hand side, upper right-hand side? Do you get anything there? If you're on Windows.
Shouldn't be this hard. All right,
Skip
well-
should take you right out of your.
Oh, wait, I know how I can do it. I'm gonna stop share and then share again. I think it'll do it. Yep, that did it. That did it. All right, so open posture equals an open tone, because when our posture is open, shoulders back, head up, chin up, it opens up our chest, it opens up our breath. And remember, the deeper the breath, the more we move into calm. We move into the parasympathetic part of the nervous system where rest and regulation shows up. It also impacts what's called the vagal tone. So the vagus nerve is the largest nerve in the body. It comes from the back of the neck, like the back of the throat. That's why you see me doing this. And it actually changes like our tone of voice, meaning that the tone is calmer, more relaxed. And if we are constricted, like hunched over, leaning forward, really mad, then we actually are constricting our breathing. And that takes us into a stress response because the body's like, I can't breathe. Okay. So the more open we are, think like, okay, this creates an open tone. It actually calms me down for the conversation. You're not posturing to be like the alpha or to, overpower somebody. It's to open you up so that you can get some deep breaths so that you can come to a place of calm. Now, Heather already said, I reread these things several times. Practice reading it in a monotone voice. Okay, this to me is really fun because we all know, okay, we drop it to the voice of our client the way we perceive them, or our child, or our partners, our significant others. She said it like this. Oh my God, she was so pissed. She said she's going to call the, right? We get into that. But practice taking a completely neutral, monotone tone. And again, this is for your benefit. This is so that you can stay in this game and that you can become champion listeners and use it to your advantage. So say it out loud, neutralize, even X out all the language that's emotional and just get yourself into the facts. I've got this great exercise around an iceberg where the facts sit up at the top and all the juice is down at the bottom. And where does all the damage occur in an iceberg? What's beneath the surface? That's where they're massive and huge and we can't see it. It's how they sunk the Titanic. So if we think about, okay, let me just anchor in the facts. What if I get rid of all the emotional language? I'm not going to forget they're pissed, but I'm just going to minimize by I'm not going to match that energy. So let me take out all the emotional language so that I can read this from a neutral perspective and get some clarity around what they really are saying. Again, we are going to acknowledge we've heard them, but this is a way for us to respond. And again, giving yourself your own little mantra. I respond. I don't react. And then give yourself time based on what you need before replying to those text messages, those emails. 60 seconds might not be enough, but give yourself permission. Take your time. Here's the thing. The more you know this about yourself, let's say if you are somebody who is really quick to get defensive, even with your loved ones, having the conversation to say, hey, I know I get a little reactive when you call me by one of our kids' names. And I'm going to just not, I need a couple of minutes before I respond. Now you're teaching the person how to create winning conversations with you. And so the more we engage in this dialogue of okay, here's how we win in conversation. I'm not talking about winning the conversation, which is usually what we're engaged in. I'm talking about creating winning conversations where both people feel listened to, both people feel heard, both people feel respected and honored for their opinions, their beliefs, their values, whatever it is. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean agreement. But now neither one of us is being hijacked in the conversation. Neither one of us is feeling threatened and our nervous system is reacting. So we're not really making a lot of sense, or we're in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. And so how can we create winning conversations where we both come to it with our emotions intact? Keeps us from saying things we might regret and allows us to really move forward with thoughtful consideration and action. How are we doing so far? Thoughts, comments? Are you seeing ways in which this applies in your life and ways that you can practice it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So recognizing that listening is energy. We are energy. And getting really, really skilled at this, to Stacy's point earlier, not only helps you professionally, but can also help you personally. So it protects our mental bandwidth because, again, when our nervous system is being activated, we're not necessarily in our right mind. So we protect our mental bandwidth. And by the way, there's energy being consumed up there. It might reduce our need to rework something, whether it's reworking through apology, taking back words, or just reworking like a contract or something like that, because we were reactive. It preserves relationships. If we go back to the very beginning, power of listening creates affection. It motivates affection. It says, you care about me. So it allows us to also perhaps preserve relationships in ways that we don't say things we don't mean. We're not mean when we say it because we are managing our own emotions around it. We're aware of what's hooking us and why. It improves clarity and confidence in the negotiations, right? Because you're coming from that place. Here's the other thing, team, especially if you're in person. I don't know if in one of our workouts we've talked about nervous system co-regulation. I like to use an example of an infant. For those of you that are parents or have been parents, when the baby is crying unmercifully, and we can imagine you're on an airplane, right? The baby's crying and now, oh God, nobody's going to want to sit next to me. Nobody's going to want to fly with me. And we get jacked up, right? Our nervous system gets hijacked. That baby is matching. We're co-regulating together. So oftentimes what you might see or not see is when we can remain really calm while we're comforting that baby, like the baby's fussing, but we're taking our deep breaths, we're remaining really calm. We're not matching the energy of the baby. Eventually the baby starts to co-regulate. This happens adult to adult as well. Somebody comes home, had a really hard day, they're all activated. We might start getting activated too. So when we think about how it really helps in situations that are highly emotional, and let's face it, you are in a very emotionally driven industry. People's life savings on the line, dreams on the line. I mean, come on, huge, huge. And so when you show up more regulated, they might be hotter than a sheriff's pistol, my aunt would say. They might be really, really upset. And the calmer you remain, the likelihood that they're able to calm down as well. And so it could also save time. Again, we think about all the ways in which we're not thinking clearly. We make rash decisions. We make mistakes because we are emotionally reactive. And we might think we need to respond quickly, but if we're responding quickly in an activated nervous system, that might not necessarily be the best use of time. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So recognizing that by taking a few minutes to get regulated may save you time in the long run. It might take a little bit more time in the short run, but saves you time in the long run. And then protecting your personal energy. I mean, my day is filled with coaching people, and that shows up all kinds of different emotional things. Yours are too. You may be going from one client to the next client to the next, and they all bring all these different situations where your nervous system is activated all throughout the day. And so really noticing, like, okay, giving yourself permission to get grounded and create boundaries that protect your personal energy. Because those of us that are working with people all day long, every day, we're taking on a lot of energy, a lot of energy. Thoughts, comments, observations,
Great stuff.
curiosities?
Great stuff. A big takeaway for me is actually I thought you had a typo on one of your slides,
Oh.
and I was looking at you don't because you said the
Thanks.
word, but I was looking at it. I'm like Amy G. Dalla. What? She got a typo. But then you said the word, and I'm going to throw it in chat. So that this is one of my big takeaways. I mean, there are several, but there you go.
There is a woman on Instagram. I can't think of her name right now, but she is hilarious. And she literally called the amygdala. I just heard her this morning for the first time. She talks about nervous system regulation. She called it the Amy G. Dalla. She called it, and I'm like, that's brilliant. She's like, when your Amy G. Dalla gets hijacked, and she calls the prefrontal cortex Carl. Carl is the and I'm like, that's just brilliant.
Love it.
Give characters to all these aspects of the brain that activate our nervous system. So Tim, that was awesome. We couldn't have
Perfect.
teed that up better. The Amy G. Dalla. When
Nice,
your
I love
Amy
that.
G. Dalla is activated.
And that's the only way I could pronounce it, quite honestly. So I'm going to run with that.
I know, I want to steal it, but she needs to own that. That was all her own doing. Any other questions? So I always conclude these workshops with a couple of ways that you can work with me or experience more work from me. Number one is my Monday Momentums, which are a weekly newsletter that comes out on a Sunday to get you set up for Monday. They're designed to be a 2-minute read. If you want to be on my email list, I will send those out to you. They're just a very quick thought to consider, connection to neuroscience, a quote that you might want to hang on to, and something that you can practice. And you don't hurt my feelings at all if you don't want your inbox filled. One of my specialties is working with people in relationship loss. I have a program called Better Beyond the Break. So if you know anybody that may still be struggling outside of divorce or a breakup, I've worked anywhere from teens to 60, 70, and love to create that opportunity. If you want to take my champions check-in, click on the links. You'll have, I can send that in my email. You'll get that at the bottom of the Monday Momentum as well. And then if you want to work with me one-on-one privately, I am also available for that. So if I can serve and support in any way, here's my info.
You're amazing, Jane. Appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
Each week,
Appreciate all of you.
each month that we do these, they're just they're phenomenal. I absolutely love them. So with that said, if you found value in the presentation today and you're not using Rock Title or Rock Title Agency, write us in on your next escrow. We would love to earn a portion of your business if we're not already. Don't write my name in. I always say that because that's way above my pay grade. I only do this kind of stuff and marketing. But that said, thanks everybody for your valuable time. Thank you, Jane. And make sure you check Rock University's schedule next week. We got another great class coming up. And be safe out there, everyone, and happy selling.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank
See
you.
ya. Bye now.
See ya.